sir.
Good afternoon.
I'm Fitzroy, and you are?
Yeah, Marlon Crichton.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from St. Vincent, Georgetown.
Okay.
Dixon to be precise.
All right, I see. And what was it like growing up from a childhood, as far as you can remember? What was it like for you?
Well, most of the time it's like, you listen to what your mom says, 6 o'clock, you go inside. If not before that, we just play cricket in the streets. We have a love for cricket, A lot of our friends after school. A lot of us used to travel like to town school, and when we get back in the afternoon, we still have a little game in the streets, put wickets in the street, and then sometimes you hit in your neighbors' houses and they complain to your mom that you hit balls on their houses.
Of course.
But it's part of growing up, which we enjoy. We had a bit of a community atmosphere. On the weekends, we pick 2 teams, we go over to the school, Dixon Methodist School, we play 2 sides, and we had a good competitive games, So it was quite good growing up. You know your neighbors, you go to everyone were like each other. Yeah, you have your little fights every night, boys, how they are. They have their little fights, you go home and your mom said, well, you shouldn't be doing it. And by the time the moms are talking, we're friends again.
Yeah, of course.
That's how it is, But again as well, sometimes you respect your elders, who are the elders in the village. If they need something done, you help them out because you don't want them to tell to your mom, he didn't do that for me. You get rebuked, so it was good, lovely.
Any siblings?
I've got a lot of siblings. I've got 6 brothers, 4 sisters with my dad. My dad has some kids outside as well, and I've got some family over here in Highway which I get to know after being in the UK for 15 years, starting in the Navy, in the Royal Navy in 2006.
How did you first knew about the Navy?
Well, the first time I knew about the Navy is I was working on cruise ships. I was working on cruise ships in 2003, and I met an officer who served in the Marines, and we talked about the Navy, and then I got to hear from my sister, who was at home in St. Vincent, that there was a recruitment drive coming to the Caribbean to do it, and then I signed up and came off my ship in Vancouver. I came off for a week to come home to the Methodist Church to do the exams, and after the exams I was successful. I went back to ship to wait for security clearance. Security clearance came about 3-4 weeks after, and then I actually quit the cruise ships from Vancouver in September. I spent a month home with my family, and in October the 6th to be precise, I landed in Gatwick.
Okay.
I landed in Gatwick 2006 October.
So your initial training, as in basic training, was it anything that you thought it was going to be like?
No, but no and yes. Okay, number one is yes, because they showed us some of the videos, what it's going to be like. But a lot of the time when they show us the videos, it's more of the Marines on the ships, on the water, like going in with attack ships. They show us more of that. But when you get over, for the 1.5 miles, a lot of us as Caribbean lads, we struggled because they give us shorts, and it's what we started training in November, which was the autumn coming into winter, and a lot of us, we could run fast, we could naturally run faster, but we had like tightness of chest a lot, and it was very windy and very cold, so sometimes we find it very difficult. We find it very difficult at the start, but after a while we build it up, because then we get to after you climatize with the place,
Yes,
we kind of were heads in front of our colleagues from the UK, where I should say.
So you were living in the UK prior to you being enlisted in the Navy?
No, well, I came over, I just had a month in. I came over on the 6th of October 2006, and I actually joined the 12th of November 2006. I stayed in London by a family friend. I stayed there for a month. I go running in the morning. It was cold, yes, but I had to run. Then I went down. They sent me through all my train tickets and that. We were well looked after. There was a Royal Navy coach.
How long did you serve for?
I served for 10 years.
10 years.
I served for 10 years as a mechanical engineer, mechanical and electrical engineer. We work up to a level of 3. I work myself up to a leading hand, which is up to MVQ level 3 in the British system. Prior to this, I went to the St. Vincent Grammar School. We had good grades to be officers. We went to boards, but they stopped it at that point. And then some people were lucky enough or early enough to be artificers, which give them like a career path or a personal development plan to be chief petty officers and warrant officers within the Navy, within the Royal Navy. But I didn't get that chance to. We were just it was just a group behind, so I missed that bit. But during the Navy, being mechanical and electrical engineering, we got a lot of transferable skills, we have a lot of transferable skills in management, team management, event planning, fire emergency, firefighting, because sometimes you are away on the ship and one minute you might be in charge of the ventilation of the system, but if there is an accident and there's a casualty, then you have to deal with the casualty because the priority changes. And the good thing about being a mechanical engineer within the system of the Navy, which is very good, what it is a lot of transferable skills that you can build on. There's a lot that you can build on as a person, and it was quite a wide opening that they make us a more rounded person. Because we've worked with the American navies, we work with different navies. When we work with different navies, or like the American navies and the French navies, we see how much one person has got one job. But in the British Navy, your role change as the situation changes. So just to give you an example, we used to do like firefighting practices. We do firefighting practices, like we call it. That's off the top majority of the time. We do firefighting practices, and they might have is something where you lose the front of the ship, but the aft is still functional. And what we can do is you continue.
I like the way you're breaking down everything.
Yeah.
So someone can understand.
Because a lot of people thought we're only in the army. We're not in the army. Everybody, if you go home, people say, "Oh, you're army man." Yeah, nobody knows about the Navy. Yeah. The Navy is like the Coast Guard. We work on the seas to deliver more strategic power, because that's where most people are based, on the coast. I mean, if it's the army, you'll find them in more inland, because they're land based. But we're Navy, and more people. If you go to the army base, they've just been here for 3-4 years. If you go to the army, there are people who've been here 18, 19, 20 years. You know, you have to remember that the first entry into the UK was the Royal Marines, who is part of the Navy. So a lot of these guys are just coming up to their last 2 years of service. So which is something that they're going to get their pensions, they're going to get their lump sum, but it has changed over the years, and it has changed. Unfortunately, it has changed over the years, which is I don't know. Yeah, it depends on what you wanted, how you look at it.
But I don't understand why the pension, if they're changing it to suit soldiers or anybody in the forces, it shouldn't be worse off for them. It should be better off.
Well, yes and no, because we can't say that they will do. No organization does it better off for the end user. They always do it for what fits the organizational purpose. These organizations have 3 months, 4 months plan, and the Navy has changed a lot in according to strategic planning, what they want to do, what suits their staff. And okay, yes, we fit in, and we did fit in well. We did fit in well, and we still have to be grateful for the opportunity to do it. Some people see it differently, some people want it to be better, but we still have positives out of it. The positives are, number one, we've been trained properly, we've been certified properly, so you get your proper city and gear certification, whether it's in logistics or chef or even mechanical engineer, you get your proper accreditation, which is accredited worldwide. Okay? Number two is we get a lot, some of the guys, you could get a marriage quarters, which costs you maybe £250, which you don't have to pay water or taxes and everything. And that's a very good offer. You could get a 3-bedroom house within the UK, which for a reasonable price, you could bring your family over. You have chances, a better chance of being nationalized, being British, which a lot of people still fighting for, still doesn't have. You have security clearance. That means you're a good person, you're authentic person. It tests your integrity, that you're good enough to work within the private sector, within UK. And that's such a big thing here. And that's what makes us as person or ex-persons of the Royal Armed Forces or the MOD such valuable assets to the society, because we come with a very good package, lots of transferable skills, and with the ability to move forward, because we've got such a wide scale of base. You could go into management, you could just go into, okay, I just want to do this field, because you've got so much to offer.
What was the transitional period for you like?
The transitional. The thing about these places is that they've got a lot of backroom staff, which some people take for granted, but you don't know until you get to that stage. So in your last, say, 6 months of depends on how long you serve. If you serve maybe over 10 years, you have a year of transitional praise, where you will come and have a shore base, where you can do your courses, your development courses. Within your transition period, depends on how long you've done in the Navy or in the forces, you have I had a year of transition, and then basically your last 6 months is where you get your time off to go and do courses. I did 2 courses, which I think was very good for me, which was the IOSH course and my 18th edition course, which because I'm mechanical electrical engineering, it kind of it gives me, that was the basic I need. I didn't want to do too much of courses which I don't want to go into that field. I just wanted to build more on my mechanical engineering field, going out into the wide world, as we call it, CV world. The courses are very good. They're City and Guilds accredited. We even have help with your CV. You have a CTP, a Career Transition Partner Manager. So you meet with him ever so often, every 2 weeks, and he's based where you're based. And we have you have like coaching. So he looks at your CV, tells you, find out which field you suit or which field you want to go in, and tailor your courses or your CV to suit that. So it was a very good stuff. And then you had workshops. We have a career transition manager who tailored your CV and your training towards the chosen field. Yes, there is engineering, but there's a lot of fields within engineering which we're not privy to until you reach that stage, which I find is very, very good. Which I find is very, very good for all of us, and for all of us coming from, what should we say, like St. Vincent or the Caribbean, which is a smaller demographic, to come in the wider one, to realize there's so much. There's food and management, there's normal electrician, there's normal mechanical, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to it than we are privy to, you know, and which I find very helpful. And I must say, and I could say, that they do look after us well. We've been looked after well in terms of when you're in the Navy, your appointments, your doctor appointments, every appointment, you know it's booked. If it's come critical, the officer will say to the captain, this guy needs to be relieved. He needs to go and do, whether he's dentist, whatever. He will be flown off wherever you are. They will pay for it. You'll be flown off. And that's some of the things that when you leave the forces, some people don't take it for granted. Some people don't really realize. Well, the services that we receive is dental care, a cheaper housing, within a very good, secure environment, because most people it's family oriented if you move from, say, a base there. Let's use example. And you're within that demographic, the schools accommodate your children, so you can get a school placement, you get priority school placement. So, and you get priority, say, dental places within the NHS, which is very good. So your aftercare or your natural care or your human care never stops.
What life is like for you after the service?
Life after the service is quite good, because we had the initial bit of the CTP, which is the career transition period. So it kind of eases us in to the English world, or we call it a CV world, quite seamlessly. We've been set up with interviews. We have job fairs, so you go and you speak to people who are looking to employ people with Navy background, because they know of their training, their in-depth training and their transferable skills, which serve us great deal. And we go into these places like these jobs here, and we realize we are way ahead, we're a step ahead of them because of our training that we've got, our transferable skills. We've got a lot of transferable, whether in management, whether in team building, because you have to remember the demographics of the Navy is like we all meet together on day one, have a 2-minute speech to say who you are, and between 4 weeks you could blindfold me or you, and we will tell you when to stop, and you can trust that guy 100%. And the friends that we meet in the Navy, trust me, it's like a family. It's a lifetime friendship that even now I leave the Navy and I still, these guys, some of them are English guys, some of them are Caribbean guys. We still meet together and still have a talk about the days in the Navy. When we were, say, in Malta, when you only go out with your friends who is a part of the ship, when you had a cricket game in Dubai, when you went to show in Jib and had to do the rock run. You know, these are the things which make us better, as opposed to, and the good thing about the Navy is that it's, or the forces, what I must say by extension, is that it have a very cunning way of making you understand yourself and understand things about you that you never know. Because don't forget that it takes us as civilians and within 8 weeks we're military personnel, and your family come to look at you and think, this guy has changed. He's folding his clothes, his room is not dirty anymore, he's a good man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your service.
Yeah.
Not only to this country, but every country that you have render your service to. Thank you so very much.
Yes, cheers, thank you. Appreciate it.
One love.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm always happy
Much appreciated.
that I've done it. It makes me a better man. It makes me know myself. It makes me know how to react differently with different people. And that's what we have as a people, because there are a lot of times we look and we kind of put ourselves down or put our own societies down, but it needs people like me and you to just relax, take it easy. I know it's a game, we may not be winning, but it's the spirit of the game, because we don't always play together, so we don't gel together, we don't know the strengths and the weaknesses.